All right, everyone. Good morning. Today is Sunday, November 29th, and let's talk about recent deal flow. These are some recent capital raises we've seen across the public and private markets over the last week. To kick things off, let's talk about private equity. None of these four deals are particularly large. However, they did occur this week, so let's walk through them. First on the list is First Reserve. They agreed to acquire the Goldfield Corporation, which is a maintenance services provider for utilities and industrials companies, for about $194 million in enterprise value. Goldfield is NYSE listed under the ticker GV and will acquire all outstanding shares for $7 in a cash tender offer. This is a whopping 64% premium to Goldfield's closing stock price. One World Sync is owned by Battery Ventures and was acquired by CNET Content Solutions from Red Ventures, and the financial terms were not disclosed. Aspen Surgical Products also is owned by Audax Private Equity and was acquired and did acquire Protex Medical Products, a Coralville, Iowa-based manufacturer of protective covers and medical equipment is used in vascular procedures and ultrasounds. Again, because this was between two private entities, financial terms were not disclosed. Also, a group of private investors that was led by Bain Capital Credit and Pacific Lake Partners invested in One Shield Software, which is a Marlborough, Massachusetts-based software provider for P&C insurance companies. Again, financial terms were not disclosed. Moving on, let's talk about mega funds over the past month. First thing is Blackstone. They're seeking to raise about $5 billion for their second Asian buyout fund. This follows a transition in emphasis across a lot of the big players in the space towards Asia as it does recover from the COVID pandemic faster than some of us stateside. This new vehicle by Blackstone, just like their first Asian private equity fund, will focus on India, Japan, Korea, and Australia. And their previous vehicle was about half the size of the upcoming one in 2018, where 2.3 billion were raised. This is planned to launch in Q1 2021. Also, with Blackstone, we saw the digital colony-backed Highline do Brasil is going to acquire Phoenix Tower do Brasil from Blackstone. This acquisition will add about 2,500 new sites to Highline's portfolio of digital communication infrastructure assets and will position the company as one of the largest privately owned tower and small cell companies in Brazil. This helps operators densify their 4G networks and realize the benefits of 5G in Brazil, and equity financing was provided by Digital Colony. Financial terms, again, were not disclosed here. Blackstone has also partnered with Worth Real Estate Group to develop a 500,000 square foot office tower in Burbank, California, which is a sign that space serving both TV and film industries is one of the few bright spots in the office sector during the COVID pandemic, because further building on the theme of content creation and also emphasizing data centers and cold storage warehouses, Blackstone has been involved in other entertainment deals through the pandemic. Back in June, they purchased a 49% stake in a venture that will own 3 film studio lots and 5 adjacent buildings in Hollywood, California, for about $1.6 billion. Netflix, CBS, and Walt Disney are also among the facility's customers, according to Hudson Pacific Properties, their partner in the deal, which kept this 51% stake. Last story on Blackstone, the cloud-based security provider FireEye shares surged as investment firm Blackstone took a $400 million investment as well as a board seat. Blackstone is going to be teaming up with the venture capital firm Clear Sky Power and Technology Partners to buy about $400 million of convertible notes. So these are newly designated 4.5% Series A convertible preferred. This comes with a purchase price of $1,000 per share and is convertible at $18 a share. Shares of Mandiant, the parent of FireEye, were up about 10% to $15.65 on the news. All right, moving on. KKR. KKR seeks about $3 billion for its third U.S. Opportunity Real Estate Fund. This is something dubbed REPA 3, the New Mexico State Investment Council, plans to invest about $300 million in non-core real estate through fiscal 2021 and will commit $75 million to the REPA 3 fund. REPA 2 was about $2 billion in size and, not surprisingly, the predecessor to REPA 3. It is dedicated to value add and opportunistic real estate investments, primarily in the US. This closed back in January 2018. REPA 3 is expected to seek mid-double-digit net returns as well, as it's searching for cash flowing assets in the top 15 most populous US markets. KKR is going to also acquire animal health firm Argenta for about $100 million and is taking the stake from Tomlinson Group, which will become a significant minority shareholder. This company was founded in 2006 and provides animal-focused contract research in manufacturing for pharmaceutical companies across the United States, Europe, and New Zealand. The KKR investment was made from its Healthcare Strategic Growth Fund, which raised about $1.45 billion from investors back in 2017. Also in KKR, the FS KKR BDCs, both 1 and 2, are now merging into a $15 billion lending giant. This comes with more than $3 billion of committed capital available to new investments, and they will continue to trade under FS KKR, being focused on the upper end of the middle market. So FS KKR Capital Corp 2 began trading publicly earlier this year, and the BDC was the result of a 2019 merger of 4 other vehicles managed by the FS Investments KKR partnership. All right, moving on. Carlyle, the AUM is up about 4% this quarter to $230 billion US, and fee-related earnings were up 10% year over year to $118.7 billion. Carlyle Group is in advanced stages to acquire Granules India for about $1 billion US as well, and Carlyle is expected to buy the promoter shares of this company, which will trigger an open offer to acquire an additional stake from others. Carlyle recently acquired Sequent Scientific and also bought a minority stake in Faridel Pharma. Granules India is an active pharmaceutical ingredient contract research manufacturing company that has been exploring options to sell stakes due to favorable valuations and succession issues. Also on Carlyle, Carlyle's global credit platform led a preferred equity investment for global financial services provider Apex Group. This is a leading provider of fund administration and financial services to the asset management and corporate sector. Apex will proceed with previously announced acquisition of Luxembourg-based Fund Rock Management Company and Banco Modal's alternative fund administration business in Brazil. This company is currently privately held, backed by Genstar Capital, which is interesting because Carlyle did also invest in another Genstar portco, something called Alira Group, earlier this year. Carlyle's $53 billion global credit is invested mainly in from its Credit Opportunities Fund, which is a $2.4 billion fund that closed last year. The Carlyle Group has also acquired a leading pet health and nutrition provider, ManaPro Products, from Morgan Stanley Capital Partners. This investment in ManaPro is a continuation of Carlyle's long-term global commitment to consumer media and retail, and it has invested about $22 billion US of equity in that space since the fund's inception there. All right, moving on, talking about IPOs, got 2 to talk about. First one is a potential IPO. JD Health is the healthcare unit of Chinese e-commerce giant JD.com and will reportedly raise up to $3.5 billion in a Hong Kong IPO. My Teresa is a German-based luxury clothing online retailer and former subsidiary of Nordstrom, which did also confidentially file for an IPO. In the SPAC space, this is another way that a lot of people have been accessing equity capital markets recently, especially amid the increased volatility of the COVID pandemic. So there are 6 SPACs to talk about. Firstly, Senior Connect Acquisition 1 was formed by Richard Burke, and this is the founder and former CEO of United Health Group. They filed to raise up to 300 million US dollars and are seeking targets in health and lifestyle sectors catering to seniors. Marlin Technology Corp was formed by Marlin Equity Partners and filed to raise up to 300 million. The firm is seeking a target in the tech sector. Spartan Acquisition 2 is the second SPAC from Apollo Global Management and raised about 300 million. The firm is seeking a target in the North American energy and renewable energy sectors. Forest Road Acquisition was formed by Forest Road and raised about 261 million by issuing more shares than anticipated. The firm is seeking a target in the TMT sectors. Roth CH Acquisition 2 is the second SPAC from Roth Capital and Craig Hallam Executive. They just filed to raise up to $100 million and are seeking targets in business services, healthcare, technology, and consumer sectors. And then Globus Acquisition does have a broad mandate spanning water, energy, and infrastructure sectors. It was just formed by Globus Capital Advisors in Chardon Capital Markets. It just filed to raise up to 100 million. All right, with that in mind, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow afternoon, where we'll run through the market news of the day. In the meantime, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.